Hey peeps, welcome back to the Real Raw Relatable podcast. I hope you had a great week last week and enjoyed Steve and my monthly episode, where we talked about the three gates of communication. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Really, really good tool and practice to not only use on yourself, to use in your relationship, to use with your children, to teach your children. I actually did it this morning just to kind of going off the back of last week's episode. I was at the gym and I sent my trainer in the notes the weight that I used. And I wrote, I could only do 10 reps instead of 12 reps. And I went to send it and I was like, I don't need to put the word only in because is it, I kind of went to like, is it necessary? No. Is it kind? No. True, yeah, because I was able to do 12 reps the week before. And I'm pretty sure I'm low in iron and I can't wait to have my GP appointment very soon to tell me the results of my blood tests. I just was like, I don't need to add in only. And instead I shared with her where I'm at and how I was feeling at the time I was lifting the weight. So you really can use it in many, many, many different ways. If you bring in awareness and look to see the ways that you're communicating to yourself, to others, it's pretty cool. Or even about others, it's very, very cool. Anyway, I'm going to use today's episode as a confession session. I like the sound of that. I reckon if you're ever going to start a podcast, that's not a bad podcast. Confession session. And I want to share with you, I guess I shared in last week's episode that I shifted the name from the Legends to the Zero Fucks program. And, that can be like, oh, jarring or, why'd she do that? I'm someone who does like to share and communicate reasons why and back end, what's going on in my mind and what's going on in my life. So I'm going to use today as a confession session and share with you what's going on behind the scenes to then make the changes that then you experience in, whenever you come into my world. So at the moment, I am working with a coach and I'm working with her to help me specifically in business for support. I'm reaching out for support because I've been doing a lot on my own and I'm tired. I'm for a certain period of time doing what I've been doing on my own and with minimal support has been okay. But with where I know my capacity wants to go and my next level of evolution wants to go, I need help and I need support. And that I can do this, with the limited support that I currently have, that has become a limited belief. It's become a limiting story and it's not going to fit with where I am going. So I've reached out for support and it feels really fucking nice, to be honest. And this is what happens with my clients. When people come to work with me, they do things themselves for a period of time and then they're like, I need someone in my corner. I need someone to support me, help me zoom out and see things differently. And so that's what I'm doing. And as a result, I've got her on board to help me zoom out, to help be an additional set of eyes that can see things that I'm currently not seeing. And we've had conversations and we've had chats about where I'm at, about feeling tired and feeling kind of like entrepreneurial or solopreneur exhausted. And there's a group of women who I meet up with 4 times a year. And we talk about this. We're all in business and we talk about solopreneurship, entrepreneurship, and the anxiety that comes with it, the exhaustion that comes with it in, I've got this new program, or I've got that, or I'm going to change this. And, that's really nice because it really helps normalize what we're experiencing in our everyday, day-to-day stuff. And so with that conversation, I've expressed to her my tiredness and my exhaustion and where I need support and where I need help and where I want to go. And then I'm like, what do you see? And when I work with a coach, no different to when people work with me, I hear what they say. I let it infiltrate, land, and I see what lands, and then I let go of what doesn't. And we've been talking about really where to place my fucks if we're going to talk about, placing time, energy, life force, headspace, heart space, focus, aka fucks. Where do I want to place them, and where is going to have the greatest impact on the people who I want to serve? And that's where we started to look at, okay, well, what can we begin to let go of that isn't of that, where yes, our fucks are going, but it's the level of service is not up to where you want it to be. And so as a result of that, there's been some programs, memberships that are no longer available to the public. People that have signed up, say, for example, I know that I've been talking about sacred sessions, the monthly sessions. I will close that down. And I know I only just opened it, but it was another thing on my plate that was adding to, okay, I've got to share about this, talk about this. And then I need to also talk about my meditation membership. And then I also need to talk about the legends. And then I also need to talk about my one-to-one coaching. And then I also need to talk about, it's getting a lot, right? And like I said, this is my confession session. And I want to be real. I'm going to be real. And so I started to look at my Take Your Meds membership, and I have now closed that down to the public, and people who are already inside of that will continue to get their meditations and I will still serve them, but it's just something that I'm not going to talk about or promote anymore. Sacred sessions, I will be doing those sessions until the last one will be in February, and then I will let that go. The way that I've run events, the last 5 years I've been running events, 5, maybe nearly 6 years I've been running events. The way that I have been running them, the frequency that I've been running them, that is no longer. And I have got additional support from a management team to just help me. Like, of course, I still want to run events, just want to do it differently. I got to do it with more support, more feet on ground, people who might be willing to come on board and sponsor, support, and really amplify what I have already been doing, but been doing, like I said, with the support that was there, but is just not enough for me and where I'm at and where I'm going. So yeah, if you look on my website now, there's far less shit on there. Not shit. Far less tabs to click on, far less tabs to open. And there is a release in that. There's a letting go in that. There's maybe a bit of grief in that of, I've put so much into that, gosh, that served for that period of time. And now I'm here. There's also gratitude in that too. There's some shame in that of, wow, I just released sacred sessions. I did all this work and, creating it and wording it and calling people to come into it. And I'm already going to let it go. There's embarrassment. And remember, this is confession session. I'm going to give it to you all. I'm giving it to you all. And maybe this will be helpful if you're a business owner and you're like, fuck, I feel the same. At least I don't feel alone. Or wherever you are at in your life where you made a decision and the decision just isn't really working out how you thought it was going to work out. And then you're like, gotta let it go. Bye. And you just want to run under a rock, which is basically what I've wanted to do. And now I'm just like, no, I'm going to be in the letting go. Yeah, it feels different. And so then we looked at the Legends, which is my 6-month coaching container, and we looked at like the essence of what is Cat John the business and what is the messaging. And it's about real, raw, authentic, honest, showing up, real, raw, authentic, honest. The movement of giving zero fucks and what that really means and how imperative that mindset is to show up authentically. Like right now, right now in this confession session, do you know how many fucks that I have to not give to the stories in my head that are like, dude, do not share this. People will think you are cray cray, that you have lost the plot, that you are not stable to do the work with, But I am choosing to place my fucks in being real, honest, raw, and authentic. And this is the practice, right? And so we were in session. I was in session with my coach, and we looked at the Legends, and the modules inside of it will remain with a few additional like sick tools in there. So there's going to be some upgrades inside of what is now called the Zero Fucks program, and that's what we looked at. We looked at the title, we looked at the name, we looked at, what are people really wanting when it comes to being their authentic self? They know it, they want to be it, but what's like the actionable part that is really going to shift them from giving too many cares, attention, focus, whatever on, what are people going to think of me if I am my real self, to fuck it, I'm just showing up as me on that date, to that job interview, to this friendship group, to whatever, when I speak on stage, when you do your Instagram reel, it's the tipping point is to give zero fucks, which is why it's now been, the name has been shifted from the Legends, which I believe I created in end of 2020, start of 2021. So it's been a name that's been around for a couple of years. Like I said, the container, 6-month coaching container remains the same. The ego work remains the same. The tools remain the same with a few additional extra cool stuff. And yeah, it's just what's going on, confession session. And I guess this is the work. I talk about this in so many episodes that it just doesn't stop. And the next layer of evolution that has got the next layer of our authentic self, just like, I am waiting for you to make some shifts. I'm waiting for you to make some changes. And for me, those changes have been to let go of some services and offerings that have been on the table for some time. But I've almost come to a point where I'm even too exhausted to talk about them, because I'm like, I got to talk about this. Where am I going to talk about that? I got to talk about this, and I got to talk about that, and I got to talk about this, and I got to talk about that. And it's like, if I'm going to talk about something and it's going to be of real fucking service to people, and when I do talk about it, it's not like, oh no, I've got to talk about it here. It's like, fuck yeah, I can talk about the Zero Fucks program. I can talk about what goes on inside of there. I can talk about the remedies that are going to help you stay true and connected to and aligned with your authentic self and show up more real and genuine. And then what to use when you aren't showing up real and genuine, and how to clear that, that I got juice for. And plus, the sacred sessions and the meditation platform, all of that is inside of now the Zero Fucks program anyway. There's monthly live calls. meditations inside of there. When people sign up, they get access to the Take Your Meds membership anyway. Like I said, it's just not open to the public anymore, but it'll be open to my inner people who do the work in with me. And just makes sense, just makes sense. But it's been messy. I felt messy. Felt like, how am I going to share this with people and communicate? It's like, oh, cool. I've got a microphone and I've got a podcast and it's called Real, Raw, Relatable. I think I'll just talk about it there. I think I will, now that I've made the call and I have landed with the truth and what feels right, good and true. I can communicate this. And it may not make sense to some of you. It may annoy some of you. And to others, you might be like, fuck yeah, I totally get it. And that's okay. Wherever it is that it lands for you, that's okay. But I got to do what's right, good and true for me, because that's what keeps me authentic. Keeps me showing up authentic. That's what keeps the juice alive inside, So there's my confession session. And I only felt it to be, I feel close to you. I feel close to my community. I only felt it to be right to share that. And also, like I said, I'm not exempt from the work. I go through it too. And so I should, why the hell am I exempt from it? Why should I be exempt from it? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's where life is at in terms of my work, in terms of the choices that I've been making behind my work. And like any change, it's uncomfortable. It's exciting. It's pressing up against limiting beliefs that are like, you can't do this. What if you do this and it doesn't even work? But, I've been around long enough and I've been doing the work long enough to feel what's right, good, and true, to know the difference between ego story and what is visceral in the body. And yes. Like in my session with my coach, I literally had a Tom Cruise moment, like when he was on the couch with Oprah. And I stood on the couch. I was like, yes, this feels right. This feels right. This feels right. And so I go with what feels right. And, maybe this can be a reflection for you too. A reflection for you to ask yourself, ooh, all right. Is there anything in my life I need to clean up? If I posed myself this question, what's right for me, good for me, true for me? What would be the answer? What answers would arise? And I get it. To ask yourself that question means you're inviting in the truth. And it's like, ugh. If I invite the truth, I can't unsee, unfeel, unhear that. But, oh, come on. It's just the way it is. It's the path of evolution. It's all part of the path of evolution and evolving ourselves. And deep down, I know you yearn for it. I know I yearn for it. And when I'm going through it, I'm like, why the fuck do I yearn for this? And then I get on the other side. I'm like, I'm so glad I yearn for this. And then I let myself have a period of enjoying my life. And then there's another yearning. I'm like, let's go into the yearning. I'm like, why am I in the yearning? Why did I fucking do this? Get to the other side. And I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. That is literally life. Is it not? That is literally evolution, I want something more. Let's do something about it. Why the fuck did I do something about it? I'm so glad I did something about it. And then you enjoy what you did, and then you enjoy your new reality, and then you get called for the next phase of evolution. And then we take a nap. And then we take a nap. Anyway, that's my confession session today. I feel that as like I said, my community, and with how I share with you, that just feels good to communicate and right to communicate. And I hope you can understand and respect my choices. And if you don't understand it, don't get it, don't like it, that's okay too. That's okay too. We can have space for all of that, can't we? Can have space for all of that. Anyway, confession session over.